Thank you, Polly, and happy birthday to His Majesty the King. I have to say, for my taste, that photograph looks a little too posed. I'm just saying. Did you miss your hernia operation because some Stop Oil Now trusty fundy had glued himself to the M25 and the useless Brit coppers were just standing behind him doing the Macarena all day long? That's all very well, but the point to remember about the lefties protesting the Conservative government and the government itself is that they're on the same side. Stop Oil Now wants to stop oil now, whereas His Majesty's government wants to stop oil in 2030, which is when new cars that run on petrol and diesel will be banned. 2030 is 8 years' time. 8 years' time. That may seem an eternity if you're planning on spending it glued halfway up the wall to a Bangkok, but it is, in fact, a distinction without a difference. The cost of your energy bill is because Boris Johnson and Rishi Rich are card-carrying members of Stop Oil the day after tomorrow. Boris's father, Stanley Johnson, gave the game away with Nana just the other day.
Get that. So it actually means that countries need to divvy up this carbon budget between them, and then they need to divvy up the sectors, and then they need to have the measures which deal sector by sector with getting the. And if that means actually some of us are told, well, you can't go on a plane, that's fine. That's part of the national plan.
What exactly is the old liar? He lied to this show just last month. I'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you what, if you see me in a bar after the show, come up to me, buy me a drink, and I'll tell you all about Stanley Johnson's lie of last month. But what exactly is he blathering on about there? The world's nations are going to divvy up the planet's carbon allowance? When exactly? Did they all get together and agree to that? Is Stanley Johnson auditioning for the role of number 2 to Klaus Schwab, the sinister Teutonic megalomaniac, hiding in plain sight as a sinister Teutonic megalomaniac? Look at that! There he is in his Ming the Merciless costume. But I see now Herr Schwab is actually getting more openly Blofeldian. Here he is in some sort of Nehru jacket, squiring Jacinda Ardern to the weekend's globalist knees up. Look at that, very fetching, nice. All he needs now is a cat to stroke. Yes, look, is that Klaus Schwab? Oh, no, I think that actually is Blofeld. But if Blofeld's not using the cat, pass it on to Klaus. He needs to start stroking. At any rate, at one of these globalist beanos, they apparently all agreed to divvy up the carbon allowance. And as a result of that, says Stanley Johnson, quote, some of us will be told you can't go on a plane, unquote. By some of us, he actually means some of you. Because unlike you loser, the Johnson family need to fly. Stanley jetting off to do his deals in Peking, and Boris ramping up the old frequent flyer miles to fleece Yank rubes in Colorado, willing to pay $100,000 in speaking fees to hear leaden shtick that flopped at spectator lunches and Conrad Black salons 20 years ago. So the Johnsons will still be in the sky, but you won't. They'll be flying high above you while you're stuck on the ground. It's all part of what Mr. Johnson called the, quote, national plan. Have you heard of this national plan? Was it in the Tory manifesto?